What's
Get
wrong?
it together, mom, man. Obviously, you gonna have to whoop.
Okay, I think we
Hi.
might have a winner here.
Yeah.
Okay, so we don't have a name for this podcast yet. We're gonna come up for this, but basically, it's three gamers, myself, Killer Black Mamba, or Bill as everybody calls me. You can introduce
Mm-hmm.
yourself, or however you wanna introduce yourself.
On YouTube, I'm called by Aura5777. Real name just Jamel.
All right, Bojango, or I don't know how you gonna introduce yourself, but
All right.
you can go ahead, man.
My name is Bojangles83, and my real name Marcus, and I'm just here to talk about some games and stuff.
All right. I guess we could start with everybody's gaming origins, pretty much, and Jay, you can start if you want. Like earliest gaming memories. What did you start with, and I guess where are you at now, pretty much.
Hmm? Location wise or
No, just gaming in general. Just like what's your first
uh,
system and
I was
experiences
talking
and
on
stuff.
I was talking about my friends on the first times I started off as a kid was the classic Nintendo, the pretty much what everybody likes to call it, the big gray shoebox size one. It was pretty much a Christmas gift from my uncle at the time, and the games I had on it was pretty much well the classic Mario, the first one. It had the three games in one, but sometimes two games in one. It had Duck Hunt with it and the that Track Star Racing, the exercise and mat. And then after the time, I kind of stuck with Nintendo for the longest until a few other systems came into my vision. My father had the Sega. Then my cousins tend to have the Super Nintendo and the Nintendo 64.
That's what's
Back
up.
then, for my childhood, it was nothing but Sega and Nintendo at the time until at around a year when I moved from where I was staying at, I started seeing the other system being PlayStation, and that was like during my middle school years.
Oh, that's what's up. All right, Marcus, we can go with you next.
Uh, my first system when I was little was like Jamal said, was the Nintendo. I had Mario Duck Hunt. I had Ninja Gaiden 2, I believe, and I had a Power Glove actually, believe it or not.
Damn.
While playing it, my Power Glove broke because I kind of like set it on the break, and then I guess it got a power shortage. So I was like, mm. Then as I got older, I started playing like Super. Actually, you know what? Nintendo's the only system I had, but everything else was Sega stuff, like Sega Saturn, Dreamcast, whatever it was after that. So I had, I didn't really miss Nintendo afterwards until like the Wii U came up. Cause I had some games on that and everything, and I like playing like
Precious, precious.
RPGs and action games. That's what I mostly played when I was a kid. Sorry, sports. I never really got into you, but that's all I had. And right now, got a PS4, Xbox One, and a Wii U. All game since I was real little. Since I was 6 years old, I believe. I started gaming.
All right. I guess I start
That's
with
it.
myself. Um, Basically, I started with the NES. I think I got that when I was maybe five or so, maybe four or five, and It probably wasn't the first console I ever seen. Like I remember seeing some cousins or something had the Atari, but it was like it wasn't under my radar yet. But like when I saw the first Mario, I was like, oh man, this is fun, man. You jumping on Goombas and you doing all this other stuff, and like I don't think I had bought a lot of NES games, but I remember my parents rented like a lot. Like I remember the original Simpsons game. I remember it was two, but I think I had the first one. I think it was Bart versus Space Mutants. I think it was that one. I think that was the one I had. I remember the the first Ninja Turtles game and Zelda. I had a ton of games. Like my first coincidentally action RPG was this game called Little Ninja Brothers on NES. And like at the time I didn't think of anything of it being a JRPG or action RPG at the time, but I was like, oh man, I guess I was kind of delved into that arena. Like I hadn't really messed with RPGs for a little while after that. But I had a lot of games. I remember the Double Dragons, the Bad Dudes, the Kari Warriors. I think the first Battletoads. I could never beat that damn game. But the three NES game, the Ninja Gaiden games. Definitely remember having like Jordan versus Bird. That was my shit. Anybody remembers that game Double Dribble? Because they showed the little snippet on Family Guy where Peter Griffin like quarter three, and like it was like a little glitch. You run at the top of the screen and like they couldn't block your damn three. Like it was like a game defect or something. It was Double Dribble. It was a side scrolling NES game, but that game was hella fun. I remember there was a ton of games that I remember having, to be honest. Like, what's another one? Obviously, Mario 2, Mario 3. Those were classics and just great games to have. The second, Double Dragon. I think I rented the first Castlevania, but I don't remember getting that far. And I remember playing maybe a smidge of Ghosts and Goblins, but I wasn't ready for that shit at that point. Like, that was just kind of... No, not at that age. Like, I probably... took me a little older to get used to that, but like the second console was like Sega, and I had a shit ton of games for Sega. And like, we had some neighbors that had the Super Nintendo, so I had a little experience, but not a lot. Like they had Super Punch Out, they had the Link to the Past. I think maybe Mega Man 3. Street Fighter. That was my first experience playing Street Fighter. Was on the Super Nintendo actually. And like Blanca, that was my first character. Him and Guile, those were my first two characters playing. But at that time, Sega just had me, man. It was about Sonic. It was about Shinobi. It was about Vector Man. That was the start of the casual era of Madden, because that's when Madden started. It was tons of games that I had. Like I remember having Beavis and Butthead, that goofy ass game. Shining Force was fun. Streets Rage was my shit. Oh, that game was fun as hell, man. Oh, that was just the X-Men. Both the X-Men games, both of those was straight classics. The Aladdin game, like at the time I didn't notice it. But the fucking Aladdin game that was on Sega, it's not the same game as the one on Super Nintendo. Like if you only play one or the other, you wouldn't notice it. But like, I think the Sega one had a little more action, and the Super one was more platforming a little bit. But on Sega, you had a sword. On Super Nintendo, you couldn't do shit but throw apples. And I was like, what the hell kind of offense is this? Like, you got this dude, Razul, trying to slash the shit out of you, and you throwing apples. And I'm like, man, this is just... But the platforming on Super NES was definitely better. But it was a lot of games like that. Like Jurassic Park. That was my game. That was an amazingly fun game. And then eventually I ended up... I didn't have a lot of Nintendo stuff after that, but I always had a Game Boy. I had every handheld, like from... the original Game Boy to the Pocket, the Color, the Game Boy Advance, the SP, the DS, 3D. I think I had every version of every DS, like the regular, the Lite, the the IXL, the 3DS, and then down to the Switch. And I remember having the PS1 because I mean everybody had it at that point. It was kind of like had to move over because I guess it was like maybe somewhat new blood because Sega had been making a little bit of mistakes at that point. But the thing with Nintendo was they had their handhelds down. It's just choosing not to do the cartridge. Choosing to do cartridges kind of hurt them a lot. That to me that wasn't a smart move for them because it allowed Sony to just swoop in, take the low. They took Final Fantasy and really when you think about it, they took Metal Gear Solid too, to be honest, because they had 2 games on there, but it got big because of that. And then I had obviously a PS2, I had the GameCube as well, the original Xbox, had 360, the PS3. I had a Wii, but it was like kind of late, and I think my cousin sold it to me for like $20. Like I think he was just tired of it at that point. And had an Xbox One, still have an Xbox One, had a PS4, ended up selling that, but it was fun for when I had it. And I had a PSP. I had both PSPs, 1000 and 2000. I didn't have a 3, but I had a Vita also, and so I mean I pretty much dabbled in most of the brands. But I mean I probably would call myself. I probably would say I'm an Xbox guy. But I always loved Nintendo as a gamer. Like it never got to the point where I was like, man, I'm not messing with Nintendo. It's just with the Wii and
it was just other systems got priority over each other. That's at the time.
Yeah, but I mean, you know, like I picked up Smash Brothers, played that a lot, played the hell out of Pokemon. It was always must-have games that I had to get on those systems. Like that was never an issue where it was like, man, there's nothing I wanted. It was actually more games than that had I really looked through their library. But just as a gamer, it was kind of like you had to get as many as you could. But for me as a gamer, like when it came to handhelds, it was about Nintendo and it was about Pokemon. But I had tons of games. Like even the original Game Boy, I had that one shitty Spider-Man game. That game was horrible. I had like the kind of watered down the original Spider-Man that was on Game Boy, where like you could run out of fucking webs and then you be swinging and you just fall in the hole. Where like you be fighting Mysterio and he disappear and you like, oh man, that game, like Angry Video Game Nerd was not lying. That game was annoying as hell, man. I still couldn't beat Green Goblin, man. I didn't know what to do to beat him. That's one of them games I never finished. But I had the Donkey Kong. You know what was weird was I didn't have any Super Nintendo, so I didn't have the Donkey Kong Lands, well, the Donkey Kong Countries. But I had all 3 of the Donkey Kong games on Game Boy. They all played just the same. Obviously, they didn't look as good, but the gameplay was there. I had Street Fighter. I had Mortal Kombat. Oh man, Mortal Kombat was super watered down on Game Boy. Like, man, like if you did a fatality and you knocked their heads off, everybody's heads looked the same. I was like, man, how the hell does Jax have long ass hair now that I decapitated him? Like that was just, it was like that era where like you accepted it. Like it was just kind of crazy. Like I had it's a bunch of games that I remember. I had Double Dragon on there. That one Double Dragon on Game Boy. I don't remember what number entry it was, but that game was hard as shit to play. But yeah, just as a gamer, man, it was just hard, man. And now we are in this era where we have Xbox, we got PlayStation, we have the Switch, and right now PlayStation, they have the numbers, the masses. People are like, oh man, PlayStation, Sony. It's like they lose their minds. They don't know what to do. And then you got the resurgence of Nintendo because people didn't view them as serious for the Wii U and the original Wii and to a lesser extent the GameCube. But now it's kind of like they made that comeback and it's like, man, they doing good and everybody loves a comeback. And with Xbox, it's like, man, we hate this shit. We don't like this American box. And I'm just like, what the hell? Like, why? Like, why don't you like it? And it's just, And like to be honest, like as a gamer, originally when I saw the Xbox, I was like, man, what the fuck is this? Bill Gates don't know about gaming. They know about taking over companies and being tyrants and being super evil. But like gradually, they earn my trust as a brand. Like, cause the thing is, I think before Halo, I really didn't like shooters like that. Like I remember, shit, my gaming experience with shooters was Hogan's Alley, Doom, GoldenEye. I sucked as Gold. Was terrible in GoldenEye. I was terrible in Perfect Dark. So it took really Halo for me to get into shooters, and then gradually it turned into like the Fables and stuff like that. Because at the time, like if it was an RPG and it wasn't Japanese, I was like, man, this is shitty. Like, man, it better have some kind of Asian name attached to it. Like I think it's not that I was prejudiced against traditional Western RPGs, but at that time, if it didn't have Final Fantasy's name on it, Phantasy Star, Shining Force, Dragon Quest, if it wasn't one of them, I was like, no, I'm not touching it. And it took for Microsoft to bring that American feel. Because when you think about it, Sony was Japanese, Nintendo was Japanese as hell, and then Sega, they were founded in America and Japan, so they always had that brand, and they kind of had an interesting medium in between. But at the same time, it was like they still were associated with Japan, even though they had studios in both places. It wasn't like where Sony had studios built in America later. Like Sega was always both. And I think with Microsoft, it was just kind of like they came out and people were pissed. Like they were like, man, we don't want this American box to succeed. And then like they didn't make it any better when the original Xbox came out, and then they had that commercial with The Rock. He was like, The Rock is this. The Xbox is the most electrifying console in gaming. And it was like, oh man. So anybody that like, if you was like a Stone Cold fan, you didn't like The Rock, you like, man, fuck Xbox. It's all about PlayStation. And like, it was just kind of, people looked at it like that's what you were supposed to do. You're not supposed to like this box. But I mean, when you think about it from gaming, Nintendo kind of had that Disney kiddie look, and Sega was a little more grown. And then PlayStation came out, and they grew up gaming a little bit because it was kind of like, it's cool for teenagers. But really, to me, with Xbox, it was like, oh man, Xbox is out now. It's like, man, this is a grown man that console, man. It's like they got a built-in hard drive. They got the custom music. The controller was big as shit. And it was like you needed grown ass man hands. Like you had like them little baby hands. Like, I mean, get your ass out of here. It was just, to me, what they brought was that grown man. And Sony, I think the thing is you can't grow up gaming all at once. So each one of those consoles did a good job of it. And the thing with Nintendo is the thing I respect about them is they always stuck to what they knew. They wouldn't go and change some shit up and be like, because I remember some people like, man, they should have Link decapitating people. I'm like, you can't do that shit, man. Like the moment, that's like Disney, you have, let me think of a movie, Monsters Inc. And then you had that blue furry dude, Telly or whatever his name was, and then like a kid say something that get on his nerves. He's like, man, you know what? Why don't you shut the fuck up? At that point, it's over with. Like, you can't have the kid image. That's kind of like those teen stars that like grew up in the Mickey Mouse Club, like the Britney Spears. Once you had a video where you were shaking your ass on some dude, you can't ever go back to that genie in the bottle shit. That's dead. Like that's no. Like so, if that adult, like look at the Miley Cyrus, she could never go back to that innocent. No, like that's dead. Man, no, she can't ever make Hannah Montana again. Like that's over with. But
Nope.
the thing is, you have to play. The thing with Nintendo is, when you think about it though, they can make a Mario into a platformer. That motherfucker play basketball. He plays soccer. He played tennis. This motherfucker went to the Olympics.
Went for multiple phases.
He was in paper.
First, he was a carpenter.
Yeah, he was a plumber. Really, when you think about the second Donkey Kong, this motherfucker was a bad guy. He was an asshole. He kidnapped Donkey Kong's son, and you had to play as Donkey Kong and kick his ass. So people can't ever say Mario has never been a villain. This motherfucker keeping endangered out. Well, I don't know if gorillas are endangered, but he kidnapping animals and shit.
Some
man.
species are.
Yeah, so it's like Mario already. He was the first asshole. He was the first good guy turned bad guy in gaming. Cause I remember the commercial where he was talking about having Donkey Kong in the cage. He's like, "What you gonna do, Donkey Kong?" I was like, "Damn, all the antagonist has Mario." But the thing with like, you can't have Nathan Drake in a Mario Party, or you can't have Master Chief and Fusion Frenzy. Like that's it's just not gonna work. The thing with Nintendo is like, I think realistically, you could have the next Metroid. You could make that rated T. I don't know if you could do it rated M, because really Halo 5 was rated T. So you could do that with Metroid, and games like Xenoblade, they have a little bit of cussing, just not that you won't hear like fucking shit and ass, but you hear like the mild language stuff, which is cool. But I think the thing with Sony, I give them is they brought that cinematic movie ass feel with the Uncharted's and the Metal Gears, and obviously like the Last of Us, stuff like that. But and then I guess Final Fantasy really took off on those consoles too. So you had the cinematic looks of Final Fantasy 7 and 8 and 9, and like, I mean, I guess that's their expertise. Their expertise is movies and music and shit. So it's like, oh man, we gonna do what Sega tried to do with the Sega CD. They fucked up with the little cinematic movie shit. But they're like, okay, now we got this game Until Dawn, man. You can basically look at it and somebody streaming, and they push it right along with you. And like, for a lot of people, if you watching a stream, it's like, damn, like I'm pushing the button with them. And then you're like, okay, he pushed Y, he pushed circle, he pushed square, he pushed X. Like, oh man, I didn't push X. And then you look at the person that died in the scene or something, but hey man, you could type up like, hey, you should have pushed this button. So I mean, I think that type of game has its place. And then I guess you could say some of their indies and stuff, some of them, they took chances and stuff like that, because a lot of the games didn't do well at first, but they stuck with a lot of stuff that wasn't big hits at first. And the thing with Microsoft is, I think they do need more than the Halo and Gears and Forza. But they've tried that. They've done the I want a Lost Odyssey sequel. That was a good game. I would like an Alan Wake sequel or Quantum Break sequel, or definitely a Sunset Overdrive or Rise Son of Rome. And a lot of stuff they did, it's like they didn't go for the sequels. I'm like, the third party stuff is cool, but a new exclusive is definitely good. It doesn't have to be some big selling game. And I think the only problem with some of the mindset they had, not all of it, is they want the big ass Terminator 2 Michael Bay type explosion ass shit. But everything doesn't have to be that. Like, my thing is, like, when I look at certain action movies like The Matrix or something like that, you be like, man, you could see the CGI. But sometimes you need that old school gritty ass type. Like, I mean, some movies, like, I remember somebody was bringing up that Aeon Flux movie years ago and it had all that wires and shit. And I was like, man, just give me Enter the Dragon. I don't give a fuck if that shit look grainy. I like some of the grainy stuff. And I think gaming, we should go back to some of that. Like, I would love to see a gritty ass fucking Double Dragon game. Cause like, I think it's too much emphasis on story stuff. Like, if any of y'all remember the first Double Dragon, the dude punched your chick in the stomach, picks her up and walks off. And on the entrance of the second Double Dragon, he shoots your girl with a fucking Uzi and she disappears, apparently dead off. And that's how the game, I'm like, that's all you need. Well, I'm not gonna say that's all you need, but I think everything doesn't have to be like some like Chronicles of Narnia, just drawn out type of story. Sometimes it's just, this is what it is. You go out, kick ass, you get a little bit of cutscenes, and you continue. Like, this is, it's not a mystery that look at how good Sonic Mania was, and then you look at these shit they tried to do too much. It's like, man, we don't need a story. We just want Sonic to be fast. We could care less about the dialogue. Like, just make Sonic fast and have the camera angle work. And sometimes the thing with Nintendo is they never forget the gameplay. Like, I don't care what series you talking about. I don't care if you're talking about Zelda, Mario, Metroid, Pikmin, whatever. The gameplay is there, and they add the story around that. Like, to me, I think with Sony is they build a story, and then they build gameplay around that. And I think Microsoft sometimes is they'll just keep it super action and not pay too much attention to the story sometimes. I think it just depends on the game, though. But I don't know. Sure, I'll take it. You know, I had a long-winded ass fucking statement.
Remember a game for Sega?
Oh yeah, man, I love Sega games, man.
Well, I was planning for like couple weeks, and when I died, like, man, my mother, she heard it. Man, she took that game through it, burned that shit through it like a little man.
Damn. Oh my fucking goodness, man. That is.
I mean, as far as
she did that shit with Bat 2, I believe.
Damn.
Like, but yeah, I play RPG now. I never really got into that much. I wish I did. Serious. I played like maybe Awakening, but I never really got into it because I did sit there and play it.
Oh yeah.
Series, and that's one like shit. I remember one game I played on Sega called Sky. Nah, I believe that's probably one of the best RPGs out here. Well, day.
Oh yeah, Skies of Arcadia was that shit.
I wonder why they never did a remake.
Man.
Like, I know they do a lot of remakes, but they do remakes on something that we're not even asking for.
That's true. Probably definitely a Skies of Arcadia. I think if they could have did like a new Revise like Shining Force and just did it for I think part of the issue too is a lot of stuff now they look at like, oh, how much money is this going to make? And it's not bad to look at it that way, but a lot of times that results in just a money grabbing move. That's why you see a lot of these remasters and stuff. And it'd be stuff that, like, to me, it's like if a game is one generation back, then I guess you could kind of hope for the remaster stuff. But if it's 2 generations back or 3, to me, you have to remake that game for me to really be justified to just buy it. Because I'm like, man, like I'm paying $50, $60 again for a game that looks like it has a spit shine to it. And I think that was my issue. Like, to me, I did enjoy the Final Fantasy X remaster, but to me, you gotta remake that game. That's 2 generations back. Like, cause when you think about it, when they did the remake for Final Fantasy 3 and 4 on the DS, they remade those games. Now, granted, those weren't the super bigger budget ones like the later stuff, but they still remade it. Like when you look at really the Gears of War Ultimate, that was a game that was 1 generation back, and they remade it. So I'm like, to me, how can you just bring a game from, like, when I saw the Crash, I think it was remade. I can't remember if it was remastered or remade or not, but I know the Ratchet and Clank was a remake. So I'm like, okay, I don't necessarily have an issue with that. And it's weird because you really don't see Mario games get remade a lot outside of the Zelda. I think it was Ocarina of Time, the Majora's Mask, and I think the one Mario that was on 64. But other than that, you really don't see. They might do a remaster from like a 1 gen back or something like that, but you don't really see them just be like, okay, we go bring back Super Punch Out, but then it looked the same, but then charge you 50. Like, you don't really like the Punch Out they did on the Wii was pretty fun. Like, it was new combinations. It was definitely different than Super Punch Out. It was definitely different than the first one. So it's like, okay, I could understand the justification of doing it, but it was just like, I don't know. I think it's just choosing how you want to do it and not trying to force it. But I mean, the Star Ocean one, I don't think it's the Star Ocean. I don't think it's necessarily bad. It's just, I think the timing. I think really, if they would have did it the first year the PS4 was out, when it wasn't a lot exclusive, when you had fucking Knack and Killzone, that would have been the perfect time to do it. But you can't release that shit like the same year that Uncharted came out or Horizon Zero Dawn. Because who the hell's going to pick either one of those? Who's going to pick Star Ocean over either one of them games at that point? Especially like if you're on a budget. Like, everybody doesn't have the means or funds to just go out and get 5-10 games a year. Like, I don't even know how many games I bought this year, but it was probably more than 10. And I think that's the issue, is a lot of people for that year, like, say you have a PS4 and you're like, okay, you might have the money for that that Days Gone and then God of War, and then maybe you'll get Call of Duty, some little indie, and then you'll get maybe Madden or something like that. Like, that's 5 games. And when you think about it, a lot of people, like, don't have it like that. You might have kids, you might have other financial obligations. So, I mean, it's just, it's kind of weird being in that situation. And I'm just kind of like, but I mean, it is hardcore people out here that are buying every console. They buying all the revisions, and they buying up a bunch of AAAs and stuff. So, I mean, I don't even know where I would place myself in that category. Just whenever, if the Switch has some exclusives, I usually try to get them if I had interest in them. And then kind of the same with Xbox. Granted, it hasn't been like a lot, so the ones that did came out, I usually got them. The exception of, I didn't get Halo Wars this year, but I probably will get it. It just, for me, it wasn't day one. Like, I was like, I'll wait till it's the price drop. And I think
Halo Wars.
Yeah, the second one. For most people, I didn't get Quantum Break on launch either, though, to be honest. Like, I think for me as a gamer, it just depends on the game. Like, if it's a Halo, I'm like, man, I'm dropping whatever, and I got to get that. Or if it's a Gears of War, I got to get that. Forza, I really don't buy at all. Like, I'm not really a fan of racing. When I race, I don't like hitting the brakes. Like, I'm probably the worst driver in Grand Theft Auto ever. Like, I got at the Batmobile, I don't hit the brakes. I'm crashing into everything. And if I spin out of control, I'm just hitting the jets. And Mario Kart, I'm the same. I'm like, I'm not hitting the brakes. I'm just drifting. Like, what do I need brakes for? I might as well not even have that left trigger button. Like, I'm not stopping. But I think everybody else is gamers. It's just, I think it's just a matter of what's important to you. Because Cuphead was amazing. Like, I had been waiting for that game for a while. And Ori and the Blind Forest, like, be honest, those are probably not my favorite of this generation, but probably top 5 or top 10 of my Xbox One exclusives this generation. And it's not that that's a bad thing, because those games, like the music, the artwork, the gameplay, I was kind of like, man, like gameplay came back to the forefront. And I was happy to see that. Like, for a while, I felt like gaming was just...
In fact, Cuphead got nominated for 2017's Gaming Awards.
Yeah, it got
at that time when they
it
showed
got
all
Indie
the
of the
best
Year.
2017 games.
Yeah, it got Indie of the Year. I was definitely happy to see that too. And I think my thing just, like, as a fan, like, it seemed like everything was about, oh man, it's the narrative game. And I'm like, I think that that's cool. But I think the problem with that is, at least for me, is some movies, if I really like a movie, I'll watch it a couple times. But I'm not a big fan of watching movies over. But the thing with Ori is you could beat that on normal and then hard and then maybe one life. And it's the gameplay that's dragging me in. But like, I would say for, let me think of a game on multiple systems. Like, I don't know if I will play through Mario Odyssey again. I probably might at some point. But I probably feel the same way with like Uncharted or God of War. I'm probably will just play those games one time on hard and then move on to the next game because they're like 10 hours. Now, a game that's like 2 hours, I might play that a couple times. Like a Sonic game, shit, I've lost track of how many times I've played through any one of those games. Because it's like I always find something new that I could do in the game. And it's not even about the trophies or the achievements. It's just the pure enjoyment of the game. But I think the thing for story-driven games is that story will never change. So, I mean, at least in a Final Fantasy type game, I remember they used to have some guides for Final Fantasy VIII where, like, beat the game with no junction, beat the game with no leveling up. Like, challenges like that gave you replay. And I think Final Fantasy VII has stuff like that too. But the thing was, as a gamer, it was just kind of like, how many times are you going to play through this part? Like, I think all those Walking Dead games, I played through them maybe twice each, I think. If that, I think. Yeah, probably twice. But I usually 100% of them without trying to 100% them. But I think now people as gamers, like, they'll play that same game just to 100% it. And I'm like, I probably would have double my gamer score if I really went out to just get achievements and stuff like that. Especially for, like, Grand Theft Auto. It was some achievement I had, and it was like 1.5% of gamers had that achievement. And I was like, I'm probably never 100% net. Probably never, like, games like that and Fallout and The Witcher. It's like, man, you're not about the 100. You gonna be spending like 200-300 hours trying to 100% that game. And in that period of time, you probably could have bought a number of games and probably got like 30,000-40,000 gamer score worth of stuff. But I mean, it would have been probably a little bit more money or whatever. But like, you can get 5 or 10 indies and get about 5,000 experience. And I think that's the thing too, is a lot of people, they're achievement hunters or trophy hunters, and I don't know what y'all think about the trophy hunter stuff or achievement. I know, Jay, you probably really don't care because I don't think Nintendo has any achievements and stuff not built in just yet. But Marcus, how you feel about it?
I guess achievements cool, but I guess people just want to like show off with their trophies and whatnot. But as far as I'm concerned, I don't think achievement really tells you anything about how much you play in the game.
Yeah.
There's a lot of achievements that, okay, I'll be Sonic Mania like 100 times. Now still didn't get every achievement.
Yeah. Some stuff you would have to know exactly what it is to aim for it.
hell, but it's like ain't nobody. I mean, looking at game score, it just tell you how much like you have to do different things, but it don't mean that you don't play the game still a long time.
That's true. Yeah, a lot of people, because think about it, some of the achievements or trophies in Street Fighter 4, you had to get a rank of C plus or a rank of C with every character in the game, which probably isn't really hard to do, but it's time consuming. Because it's like,
Oh yeah.
if you're fighting it, you're not playing every character in the game. And all that time you're spending, that's time that you're not spending on your main character. And that's definitely time consuming. And I mean, like, I don't think anybody that goes to tournaments would do that. I think that's something that's just trophy hunter type players would do. And I think that's the thing too, is it's kind of hard to be a trophy hunter when you play MMO type online stuff, because most of that stuff doesn't reward you with points. You just playing it because of the experience.
Yep.
And I think the thing with PlayStation is they have a lot of single player stuff. Not really counting the JRPGs, because some of that stuff would be time consuming. But like, take a game like Uncharted, like it's maybe 10-hour game, something like that. God of War is maybe 10-hour game. Like most of those action games are in that range. So you play through them, I would say probably 3 times, and you probably get, if you knew what you were doing, probably like 90% of it, or you 100% it. But like, what would a hardcore Halo player do? Are you? My thing is, are you gonna play through it on normal and then hard and then legendary? It's little stuff you gotta find, and then it's a lot of trophies that's based around the multiplayer, that's based around the war, that's based around just other little stuff. So it's like, it's more time that would have to be put into that game than it would strictly Uncharted. Because to be honest, some of the trophies in it, you could probably put the damn game on easy or the easiest. And if it's something to base on something or collecting something, you could do it that way. And then do it on hard and crushing and stuff like that. So it's like, probably in like a week and a half, you can get that. 100% Halo is like, man, shit, man. Like, trying 100% Halo wouldn't even make you a good Halo player. It would just make somebody who got all the achievements. But I think it's like completely different mindsets. Like, the thing too with Mario, really with Nintendo stuff, Legend of Zelda will be really good for achievements. Mario will be good for it. Metroid will be good for it. I think Pokemon probably would be too. Like the same way they have the badges, where like you collect every Pokemon, you get a streak. Maybe you collect every berry, you get every TM. Like, I could see them having that in the game, especially the third party stuff, because it's already, you could just do a spin off controller or the achievements. But it's like, it's just crazy though. Like, I mean, I think I put some stock into it. Like, if person, oh man, I'm gaming, man, I'm game holic, but then they got like 500 gamers scoring. Like, wait a minute, like that's now granted, a lot of that is based off of how much games you buy total. Because if you're, this is a perfect example, I would say, like my cousin, he does a lot of online playing on 2K, but he doesn't really do a lot of story for the my player. So if I finished it and I did some online stuff, I have more gamer score than he does, or close to it, even though he has way more into it. And I mean, they used to have like certain stuff where like it'd be like LeBron James had like 25 points and 10 rebounds, 10 assists. For a player that's pretty good at the game, that's not hard at all. So I mean, I think it just depends on the game and what you want to get out of the game. But like Final Fantasy 10, I couldn't even imagine trying to trophy hunt that. I'm like, man, I'm good.
Dude, I'm like 85% trophies on that too.
Man, and the thing is, I had it on the Vita. Like I had everything except beat Penance, and I had like 250 hours. I'm like, I'm done. Like, I'm not putting any more time into this fucking game. Like, no. Cause I'm looking at it like I probably could have beat all 4 Uncharted, Golden Abyss, 100% of them. Probably could have beat God of War 3. I probably could have got triple, quadruple the fucking platinums. Could have got way more just total stuff. And it's just like, man, like I think that's why you can't. You know, that's probably why I would say say you're one of the fans of MMO, like you play, um, say you play like the Final Fantasy 14s and you play the, what's the name of that game? Like Smite, like you're not really getting gamer score with that shit. It's not a lot of gamer score to be had in those games. Well, it is. It's just, you probably have to play with most of the characters to do such stuff. But it's not. You wouldn't get most of that just going out and just playing. You would have to be specifically targeting certain stuff. And I think that's the thing that hurts some. Now, the one thing I would say is, like, if a person has like, I was like 100,000 gamer score, you can't say that person is not a gamer, because the thing is, were they 100? Because I think I have about like 50. So whether that person 100% game, either they buy a shit ton of games, or the games they buy they tend to complete about 80% of stuff. Like Batman Arkham Knight, I was trying to do some of the like. At some point, I was like, man, I'm kind of done. But I think for me, game like most of this, like the what games, like those Walking Dead games, most of those are kind of easy, 1,000 achievements. But one of them seemed like I couldn't get for the longest time. I was like, but basically, it was one of the side stories. You had to win a game of rock versus with the dude, and I kept losing in that shit. Like it took me like 30 minutes to win one game of rock paper scissors, and I was like, man, I probably could have bought an indie and beat an indie like 20 minutes and get more game score than that. Like, cause certain games, like some games you could beat in like an hour, and 100% at 1,000. But I'm running at that point, damn near paying for achievement, almost paying for points. Like I refused to do that. But if I really cared about Game War, because I forgot how many I got last year, but I think my first year I had Xbox, I think I gained about 22,000 gamer score just that year alone. Like and I think at the time I had a 22 and I went to like 44. So like, damn, how did I double my gamer score in a year? But I mean, I was playing like shooters, I was playing fighters, I was playing action, I was playing hack and slash. Like it's just crazy. I think it's all about. I would say if a person on average have 5 AAAs and 5 Bs, that person game score wise probably will have more points than the person and that's messed up. Because like say you watch Star Wars game, like you can tell me the story, or maybe for Call of Duty, but there's a number of people that never touch the campaign for Call of Duty. They never touch the ghost thing. They just get it from there. So I'm like, man, they just passing up on gamer score. But I mean, I don't think gamer score is everything, but it's so many points that people just leave on the table. Like if they really cared about it. Like on Friday the 13th, like one of the achievements says play as Jason Voorhees 500 times. And like you only to beat, one of the achievements says play as Jason Voorhees 500 times. And you think you only get to beat Jason like 1 out of every 8 matches. Like my shit said 17% of 500 matches. So however the map spins it, I'm nowhere near close to that shit. Now granted, they do have offline mode where you put bots where you're always Jason. But even if you go by that, let's say I don't even know what 17% of 100 is off the top of my head. But I still get at least about 4 more damn times to do that mode just to get that achievement. And I'm like, man, I'm kind of. Now, the good thing is you do gain experience in that mode. You level up and stuff. But it's still way more. I guess if you were doing custom, you could get. But it's just like, man, like I'm like, I will not play Friday the 13th that long to be Jason. Like, I can see myself playing that long enough, 500 matches total, but not enough to be Jason. Because I think even if you were Jason 1 out of 5 matches, like, there's no way I'm going to be in 2,500 Friday the 13th matches. Like, that's crazy. Yeah, like I mean, games like The Witcher are probably there just steep. Like I probably got maybe 30% of Grand Theft Auto achievements, I think. And you think what's the name? Killer Instinct has about 4,000 game score total, but probably some of that is getting a certain rank with every character, or maybe getting certain cosmetic stuff, and it's just this is just like crazy that they. I mean, I'm mad at the expectation. For the most part, I think game score is just the most telling because sometimes it's just indicative of how many games you are. Because if you had let's say you have Xbox for 5 years and you got 10,000 gamers, I'm like, man, this person, either they play most of the multiplayer stuff or they're not buying a lot of games. They're probably buying 2 games a year or 3 or whatever it may be. But if a person's like, oh man, I'm hardcore Xbox, I'm like, oh hell no. No, not that category. Not with 10,000 in like years. Because I mean, the way I look at it is, I never finished Quantum Break yet. I have not touched Final Fantasy 15. I haven't touched Resident Evil 7. There's a number of games I barely touched. Like that game D4, I use for Fart Dreams, kind of like one of them point and click games, like how The Walking Dead was. I'm like nowhere near halfway through that game yet. Like another game that like I could probably look at, like, oh man, I would at least get a good 5,000 gamer score. And granted, I am probably gonna play Final Fantasy 15 and Resident Evil at some point, but I haven't gotten to them yet. I've been playing out. Like I think if I ever got to a point where I just didn't have Xbox Live a month, I would probably gain like 10,000 gamer score for that month. Like no lie, like I would have a crazy amount of gamer score just because I was playing more single player stuff. Like, it's wild though. I don't know, man. Did anybody see the Game Awards?
2017.
Yeah.
It was a good year. It was a good year though. In fact, Reggie kind of got a lot of people hyped about what's going to come out.
Yeah, the winner for this year was
trilogy of band.
yeah, that had me hyped, man. Cause first, really, just
What year?
the Bayonetta 1 and 2, and then 3. I was, cause at first he showed 1 and 2, was like, oh man, we thank you later, Reggie. And he's like, you think this is all I came up here to show? It's like, hey man, you got more? And he showed a little trailer for Bayonetta 3. I was like, oh shit, man, it was exclusively for Switch. And while I was watching the live stream, people was like, man, this is shit. This should be on PlayStation. I'm like, hey man, that's when you know the price is low, man. Like, cause the thing is, if it would have just been on PlayStation, Nintendo suck, Xbox suck. But when it's now next system, it's like that's the difference. Is I mean, people can say what they want, but PlayStation gamers be spoiled, man. They spoiled as shit. Like they want everything to come to their system, and they don't. Cause the thing is, like, if Kingdom Hearts 3 was like, it's not like, yeah, Xbox sucks, fuck that shit. But then something like, say it's a Blue Dragon 2 or Lost Odyssey 2, but, hey man, Xbox still support fan, so shit on them and make it play. Like it's like, wow, like, really? Like I think that's the thing that's annoying, man. It's some forums where it's toxic, man. And I think that was the thing that always bothered me, because it never really was PlayStation itself, because it's a fucking machine, but like how the fans are, like, what's the best way to put them? They're like New York Yankee fans, or they don't get what they want. It's like, man, like nobody else can have Sean. Like I think that was the thing that always bothered me sometimes. When that Tomb Raider, when people was getting that actress from Tomb Raider, Rise of the Tomb Raider, because they should come to Xbox, I was like, man, I'm done, man. Like really, like I mean, everybody on all sides do some crazy shit, but when that happened,
Right.
I was like, wow, that's when you knew that, and you knew it was PlayStation people. Like the thing is never like. It's like it's almost like they have a certain calling card. Like people wouldn't have about oh, bro, there's something about you something to not make it. I was like, damn, like no, don't own the something. They just
Did they do that shit on Sprite though? On the Xbox side though?
no, really. What happened with Street Fighter is like Street Fighter, which is typical damage control. That's normal damage control. That's what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to be like, fuck killers. You're supposed to be like Street Fighter killers and get dead or alive. Get this, but you're not supposed to fucking go to that dude. I don't know that made Street Fighter like, hey, fuck kill you if you don't get on Xbox. That's when shit taking it too far. That's almost normal. Like it's kind of like you have a girlfriend and she break up with you for another dude. But man, fuck that dude. I don't need your ass. That's your reaction. That's natural. But when you be like, hey bitch, fucking be with you, I'm gonna cut your head off and killing him. Like that's when it's too far. That's like, damn, man. And I'm pretty sure it is some Xbox dudes that might do that. But I mean, shit, I stay away from any of them. They might be like, you know, I see them. They the most chill. Man, fuck what I'm talking about. Mario, we got Zelda, we got Pokemon. And that's all we need. And I mean, not to put it that simply, but it's just, hey, man, we got Smash, man. We Street Fighter shit. We got fucking you. We got Pac-Man. We got Baron in the game. We got Sonic. So it's just like.
Wait. Sorry, just out real quick. That combination is kind of weird.
It is, but we have Mortal Kombat. Dude. Fucking Jason Voorhees. They got Alien. They got fucking Predator. And then Injustice. They get fucking Sub-Zero. Like, he don't even in the game. Raiders in Injustice too. It's like, really? And then look at Tech. They got Noctis from Fuck Fantasy. He powered Akuma. Man, come on, man. That shit is just. Now, really, Noctis is the most out of place. Like, you got a motherfucker that can summon dragons and magic and shit. I'm like, come on, man. That's too far. He really didn't. And then fucking Soul Calibur. They had Hayachi, Spawn, Link, fucking Yoda, Darth Vader, and shit. They was like, fuck it, man. We don't care. We just gonna put random.
Hey, they got the money for it, so why are you concerned about it?
Like, I would say, Smash Brothers did the best of it, just not feeling weird. When they made Snake and Ball, Snake fit, Pac-Man was how he was supposed to be in the game. Everybody, it was like a perfect fit. Like, the thing is, when you play Soul Calibur 2, they on you like, man, We know this motherfucker Spawn would rape that universe. Like, that scale was not balanced at all. The gameplay was balanced. But when you look, I'm like, this motherfucker, he got man, what the fuck Soul Calibur about to do against that? Like, no, like, that's what I was trying to just. Like, you got to split the earth open, man. Like, really?
Yeah.
This motherfucker, he was talking to dude that had, and, like, the rain around him stopped. Like, this motherfucker was just doing reality and shit. This dude had, like, full conversation with the old man while you just stuck perpetually just walking and talking. I'm like, hey, that's some old Beyonder from Marvel shit, man. That's fucking kind of like, man. But, I mean, they did I think they did a good job, too, in the verbal character in. Because it was not a fit. I give them that. I gotta give them the credit, too. They did a job with that shit. It was just like, man, like, it just sometimes people don't want certain stuff to have games. Cause I mean, I guarantee you, if the new Dragon Quest was a Switch exclusive, people would be up in arms. It was mostly PlayStation people. Like the thing that I see probably. What was you gonna say? Like the thing I would say with Xbox really is just if someone open their system like fuck it, I'm just control it. It don't matter. It's Japanese. It won't say. I mean, that's just the usual thing. Now, granted, when somebody said something about Devil May Cry, my souvenir, somebody's like, "Hey, man, that don't matter." I was like, "Man, get the fuck out of here!" Like, really, certain stuff ain't damage control. Because really, if you look at Backslashes, we have had a Shinobi one in a while, but just on an unbiased side, when it comes to hackers, it's anybody in the draw. I'm for nobody talking about. Like, T God of War is not on level with either of them. Like, graphically, it looks the game, man, hell. Like, this new shit, that no one been. Ninja Gaiden as far as game part 2, he just like, damn, you just want to keep rewinding. It's not don't gotta work. And Ninja, it's just, you gotta be technical as hell, man. Fucking enemy could kill someone hard. Easily. One enemy. Fuck the boss. Like, the last time you played Ninja, you fucking get killed by 5 enemies. Then you get a boss and beat him. Like, man, this boss wasn't shit compared to, like, 5 enemies. And I think that it was like, at least on the Xbox side, we can't damn control anything. Like, granted, I'm not a big Yakuza fan, but, like, some shit like that, somebody's like, my thing is, if it's just come on PlayStation, it's, okay, what makes up a deal. But that shit is ported to the Switch. You could be like, hey man, maybe they're not trying to support Xbox at that point. There's really a lot of stuff on PS2. You could tell it was a deal set in place. All they had really was the same thing in the NES era. But if it makes a game for us, you can't make it for them. And had that marketing share. So it was like, hey man, you gotta give you. And that was the reason you didn't have Mega Man on Sega. Cause like Super Nintendo was fucking selling like crazy. Capcom up that money. Now, I think Mega Man would have sold as well on Sega, but I think they did good though. But not as good as Nintendo. But everybody was graphic though. Like I think when the first came out, I thought it was gonna be like kind of a sequel to like Dreamcast, and come to find out later, Bill Gates just bought Sega and didn't buy it because he didn't think it could compete with Sony. Like, they're supposed to buy that anyway. Even if you don't think, yeah, my thing is like if you have okay, let's just say you still got Halo, you still have Fable. That OG, you could have had. Well, Sega 2 already out, but you could have had another Sonic. Phantasy Star could have been exclusive. That Shinobi game could have been exclusive. Maybe another Shimu, maybe they could have funded that. Like, people forget Sega mastered the art for titles. Like, it's just crazy, man. They would have had platforms a lot. If Sega had Shining Force and Phantasy Star, so it would have been 2 RPGs, and it wouldn't have hit that only shit. We didn't get fucking, we didn't here. And I think that's the thing that was just kind of like, damn, just missed opportunities. And I think with Sony, really, it's just, PS3, they got 2 different content. Again, we got the generation, they brainwashed them about whatever. They bought this for $600, they matched that damn price. And they was like, oh, hell no. And they told, dude, he told them, like, we want you to feel like if you can be honest. I was like, what the fuck? Like, I couldn't believe that motherfucker said shit, man. I was just like, wow. No, but the thing is, the issue that man is about the online. Because people worry about online. He's saying, if you don't have online, we have to be part of the city. But that's not. Oh, hell yeah, it gotta be. Because basically saying, broadcast get a second job. That's basically what the dude's saying. Hey man, we want you to value this shit more than your rent. Like, wow.
That's worse.
Exactly. Like, your car note for whatever you need to get. Fuck your kids' diapers. You just buy some rag. Like, it was just like, man, like. And I guess the thing too was like them overstating the power with them being like, go 1080p, 120 frames a second. Like, man, that shit is not 120 frames a second now. So, I mean, that was like, like all these companies fought because when the PS2 came out and it was like, we got that Toy Story level graphics. I'm like, we just now Toy Story level graphics. I'm talking about the Pro and the fucking X. I'm not talking about the Xbox PS4. I'm about the fucking the fucking second race of that shit. I was just like, man, like, what is going on? But I mean, it's just everybody comes somehow. Mm-hmm. But man, the thing with Nintendo is none of the mistakes ever really I mean, some of them did. Like first one was kind of like the boy never made the Game Boy funny. Never made him get the Game Boy Advance funny or whatever. That's the crazy part. Was like I would Nintendo make those mistakes, but it's like they was like trying to do some great shit, maybe in the wrong direction. Like the cartoon on 64, to me, it was like trying to prevent piracy. But I think food and computer and a lot of motherfuckers go fucking emulate shit in it. Because they offered Final Fantasy VII Nintendo first. It's just, it couldn't fit. And to me, realistically, if you get Final Fantasy VII and you keep Metal Gear Solid, because it was on their shit anyway, like, I'm not saying that changes the whole generation, but you don't pay, you're not going to be paying $80 for fucking Donkey Kong. There's no way I can lost that on this. You don't need an expansion pack either. I think that was the thing that, remember the Donkey Kong game on 64, you needed the damn expansion pack to play it. And the game was pretty damn, I think the game was $60 or $80 or something like that. So, I mean, that was one of the,
What game was pack?
nothing, it was just a special for memory. 64 didn't have enough memory.
Oh,
Yeah.
that large battery slot in the back of the controller.
No, that's that, I'm talking
Made
about,
up a heavier on.
no, that's wrong. I'm about the thing, you know, remember little slots, like a little square slot? That's where expansion memory went.
Oh, that one. That
Yeah,
one.
most games didn't require it. Donkey Kong did. It might be like maybe 5 or 10 games that needed it, but Donkey Kong was one of them. It was just like, damn, like, how'd y'all do this? And I think that was one of the foresight that they did as far as like that started that instant generation. Because really, if you put it to this, games cost less, so probably some more. Probably keep out there. You probably Final Fantasy. So after that, you have 9. Like, I don't even think that. I'm not gonna say that the PS1 would took as much, but the whole section would have been completely different. Like you remember the Mortal Kombat Mythologies game, it didn't have images. But on PS1 it was like live video because it had the CD. Like I think if Nintendo had even playing field, the whole sheet of them would have been different. Like it's not that Nintendo was trying to prevent piracy, but I think they should have put like maybe try to put some shit in or something or whatever they can be to do it that way. It's just like man, like really moving this on the GameCube wasn't a bad idea. It just seems it had to be compressed more and it was more work. And yeah, developer didn't want to do that shit. Like I think that was the issue. Yeah, it was like it was all little because really the 64 that was the only thing. Really even controller was awkward, but the controller worked perfectly on all their first games. I didn't think a game that was exclusive to that system. Some perfect Dark Bowl outfit, Smash Bros. Pokemon stayed perfectly. Mario, all the first party stuff fit. All the rest of the games, No Mercy, Mega, WCW, all the games fit perfectly on that controller. And really, you could set it in a GameCube, to be honest. GameCube, that controller's sturdy as shit. That's one of the only controllers that you could probably have one from like 1 year ago that thing still work. Like you go over there, get the controller, the D-pad, shift tail, or the top buttons like person. Man, Nintendo made just ass, man. That was just the crazy part, man. It's just like, wow, still a mistake. Like, people make it look like Nintendo just made it. Like, the GameCube, I think they should put a emphasis online. Because I knew Fantasy already. But it wasn't like a lot of games that hit it. And I just them not paying attention to the market as much. So I think that was a more major mistake. Was just not on audience. Like, hey, man, we're going for time. Because you have to look at what the Dreamcast doing. And some shit they was just going to get tools, if not better, even on dial-up. They had best dial-up connection. And there's nothing to it. People don't give extra for really stepping online now. Because they was the one, man, we won this dial-up shit, but we'll do broadband. And that was a big deal. Everybody had that little shit, you have to connect their online. Like, wait like 60 seconds. Everybody was bullshit. And we're just like, hey, man, we about to move this shit to the future, man. Can't do this blow shit anymore. And that was a great fucking thing they did. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, it was a great thing that Microsoft, yeah, people, they memorized stuff that's broken. Now, granted, I think most of it was electronic and cosmetic stuff compared to, like, Sony, where it was gaming experiences were different. But at the same time, like, I think without Xbox, I don't think you have the social gaming role like we have now. I don't see how you do that without original Xbox. I think there's a lot of stuff that PS3 did not.
Stuff off what Nintendo did in terms of system.
Oh, yeah, you must bring that, Jack. You just bring up your experiences or just on the handhelds.
I mean, for handhelds, all them like, okay, first, I told them, I'm out there. The first system I saw was Nintendo was the Game Boy Color. The big Game Boy, the gray one, the large one. At the time, I saw like Game Boy Pocket, which was a lot thinner. It jumped here when Pokemon was introduced. Like, I wanted to see, play more, got into it, and just my attention, but then at the time, I saw the Nintendo 4 at that time. I saw people in Pokemon. And then also another Pokemon franchise game was Pokemon Snap, the top one.
The Army game.
So it was a single player, you can pretty much take it, but Stadium got more addictive than Snap did. In Stadium, all you could battle not the gym, you could have with both the people that has like that like game that connected you. It was sometimes a slot thing to go to the back of the controller. And the game was onto your 64. Just
I remember that.
the adapter, you get like all the items given to you, the Pokemon you got, and that's why it's Pokemon times, and then pretty much it got so much that Nintendo took up the right for a change, so that by continuing a multiplayer game, keep playing for the rest of the year. But then each time on the adventure part of it, it's the battle sequence, like bars.
Yeah, but they made a lot of
Then the Stadium 2, the 31 second version came out, and at the time they wanted to get people to the train car games when that they invented their Pokemon train car game at that time. Some students had to go get the card game, so they do play on their own game while they're ready, like how they say. Other than that, it's pretty much a very different experience from the Game Boy Nintendo at the time. I was it all quite well for each generation, Circle and Pokemon a year between them all. But one of the Pokemon series that I've never did understand quite lately is they do adventure seeks,
Oh yeah.
mystery dungeon.
Yeah, I wasn't a
It's
fan
like
of it.
don't. It's like battle sequence. There's just more than just routes that goes on missions, and so you can go other consoles and other games.
Not too much.
Outside Fox, that as their own business.
I thought it wouldn't include, but really, like, if you look at the regular Halo series, like Halo series, that was still on strategy, where they get the green thing and are shooting if you building strategies and stuff. Like, it was more of a military tactical game compared to the running gun. Still wouldn't compare change to it. Mario might be like complete change in genres. Like did Mario some genius. But Mario
Every-
and GameCube, that was just like, I don't
Right.
even had that game, but that game was fun as hell, man. You got like fucking Luigi dunking on LeBron James and shit. Like, man, it's not having fun.
I
Shit.
remember my game.
The,
It was like an NBA versus Mario Bros. Game, but there were Peach and
yeah, it was but it was like games and had
it was like
you
it
know.
was like Peach was like in a major team that you could put that was
Yeah,
before they changed it up.
that game was fun as hell, man. And then how back he was on Fortnite Round 2 on the GameCube. He had no chance, but he had power and speed. Yeah, you know, I don't remember playing NBA Streets on real GameCube, but Mario Heat with that. Yeah, he was on Fight Night Round 2 on GameCube. He was a heavyweight division. He was like 5'6". He had no chin, but he had power and speed. Good fuck was. You know, that one that's called man. That was all Mario characters. Actually, it had the White Age from Final Fantasy, the Black Age, and Ninja from Final Fantasy 2. And like special and shit. Like the Black Age, his special shot was like meteor. Like White one would be like, I forgot what you had. But it was a fun game. Like you had to dribble and pass and do, like it was kind of a weird fun way to introduce some baskets to Ninja fans. It was a fun game. Definitely enjoyed it all. But, I don't know if anybody ever played it, but that game, Sonic Chronicles on the DS, because it was developed by BioWare. And when I heard of Sonic RPG, I was like, oh, this is going to be a catastrophe. Then I played it from the addicted. It was like, man, this game's actually fun. It actually was one of the most Sonic games that I had played in a long time. The thing about it, it came out after Sonic Adventures 2. It came out after that Sonic 06 bullshit. And I think it came out before doing that 2D3. So it came out at a time where a big stretch of bad Sonic games. That was on the Wii. That one was terrible too. I can't remember the name of it.
I never liked the Sonic sequence. That's
Yeah, that was a game.
game. The whole point of the motion controllers. That's
Wasn't it you suck? It was where you just keep moving.
it wanted like every level where you got home on the base, it's another part of the stage. It gets to where you feel like the roller. And that's just the down one. It just forces the.
Somewhere.
I'm not doing nothing with the controller. Completely still. That time going on. Actually, I did move the controller.
That's all like the fuck.
Like, nope, I did not get. I never played it anymore. I just like the trip back to I borrowed it. And the time on Wii fall.
Can't be bad, but it was fun as hell. It was that tripping bullshit. No stuff.
In terms of like the day it came out this year, definitely.
Oh yeah. Like that was the thing, man. It was like some of these consoles, like I feel like you missing a lot of platforms. Everybody really have it. Yeah, I mean, do you think I think it's like play games in the late 90s, man, that shit was like I don't know about y'all, but for me, like if you didn't play fighting, like you didn't get respect. Like it's just you had to be something out there for 10 to 12 if it was whatever primal age, you had to be about that play game. And it's different now. Like thing is, I don't think I ever played hackers play RPGs. It was good. You know what? It was like that. But fighters had to play it. Like it didn't matter if like I had like lots of uncles and cousins, lots of dads and stuff like that. But they all play Mortal Kombat, all play Fire. Because that's just that one only game I could go ass. And it's like when this era was like, oh man, play shooter. And like it was something fucked up for me, that guy. But like that shooter shit to me, oh man, clear man. And like I won't say the genre is casual. To me, the genre is casual, not all the game casual. It makes like you can put a gun and shooting. But I would rather, like, I'm like Marcus and Mark too, like, man, he keep doing this fucking bullshit, that fucking towel underwear bullshit. I gotta find a way to stop shit. Like, to me, that's compelling than just, man, he fucked me with his rocket, he cheap as like, that's bullshit. It's not skill. Or somebody like, when I was in this year, this one dude, he all like unspecific characters. He was little for not saying that shit did shit. This dude, what the fuck? I 3 bars. I'm like, hey, man, I'm jamming. So he tried to find a way to get away with his sin, but I wouldn't let him. Like, now it's just like, man, like people talk more about the graphical look and the game. I think that's wrong necessarily with like or Atlas, but nobody talks about the gameplay. Like, all the good is story, my wild fucking gameplay. Like to me, when the game is the gameplay is second, third, it's a problem. It's when it's first, and y'all. I'm like, come on, man, it was God of War, you're 10. I'm like, hey, just mash square 5 times, and then TE where you press X, circle, triangle, X. I'm like, let's get that shit. Like, I was like, man, like that, then like, and like that dude, you shot in the beginning will whoop your ass, man. You have to figure out how to fucking steal that. You beat him, you like, this motherfucker's playing with this fucking cheap ass first. Like, that was one of the things that always sucks as a gamer. Like, then the original got 3 and fight that shit first. That fucking thing was cheap as fuck, man. Like, and I'm not talking about that special edition bullshit where they made the game easier. I'm talking about the one where in Japan their hard mode are normal. I don't know why the fuck that game like that. But you thought normal was actually hard. I don't know, my phone is. But that presented for Shunjin. Now we got some fucking game. Like, yeah, like that whole game anymore. The whole fucking credit card. You're like, what the fuck is? That is horrible.
Some kind of method to some kind of to like dissect or system in the show for you plays correctly.
Yeah, on Rainbow 4, you had a single player to post that shit. They was trophies and achievements. I'm like, what the fuck? I'm like, that's some boy. I wasn't going to call game. The fact that it disabled made you feel what was at all. And sometimes people just want to have fun, man. Like, sometimes we have moving down on Grand Theft Auto 4. I'm behind there. It's all me beat game. It's a fun experience. This is wild, man. Like, you got how many platforming games we had? Just Street Fighter. Yeah, Street Fighter. Yeah, talking super instant. You had Man, you had Batman, you had the beat 'em ups like you know what? You had Streets of Rage, you had other games. They had those kind of beat 'em up. You had a bunch of Sims games. You had Dragons. Just now you don't have any of that. You use like $20 game, and like now it's like even the ends be like $20. I'm like, no, what the hell? Oh, for the one, you can no concentrate. But some of them games look like fucking Double Dragon. These graphics like I don't know, not trying to charge $20.
Unless there's a reason for it. But otherwise, yeah.
Yep. Damn. My problem now is, I think my biggest issue now is games is like, you gotta make big ass multiplayer aspect in the game for a sale now. And I think part of it is just, a lot of games don't hold people's attention as long. So like, play a game, they might play shit one day, play one, and they'll do it. Like, my thing is, I like some single player stuff, but what it means is, in the game market, it's hard to make them big games. Like, it's more likely they will flop. Like, I would say, if Quantum came out in the PS Xbox era, that's about like 2-3 million. You still have the need for type of market because you had Max Payne 1, Max Payne 2, you had Dead Space, you had Max Payne. Like now it's like you look at the 3D beat up era. It wasn't all one of them, but you had that LC Guy shit. And then I don't know what either one of y'all had this game. It was a game on PS1 called Jackie Chan Stuntmaster. That game was fun. Hey, was you ever played that game before? It was a game called Jackie Chan Stuntmaster. Like it was like fucking man, that shit was hype as like. But like, if somebody made that now, like do it. Now, right? I'm just saying though, like whoever trying to make one Yakuza, but actually I can't remember the name of it though. Damn. Can't remember the name of the game though. But like you playing in some criminal I can't remember the name of the fucking game though. Damn. Basically it was like an action type martial arts cool type game. So they did a Jackie Chan game again. That game, the graphics probably look shitty now. But the gameplay was fun as hell, man. I don't know what age though, but it's just crazy now, man. Damn. That's horrible. It's changing now. Like, we are giving this tonight organic. Like, shit. Oh, man, my things, I love other people. But it's just, people are just saying, not paying them because they do like paying. My thing is like, I would say, back when I was making sure, so, like, if someone didn't like the game I played, now I'm still going to go get a game because everybody else has it. Like, I was having a game out. Like, everybody likes. What came out? I don't like shit. I don't play that shit. Like, the controls look pretty cool enough like that. At the same time, like, these shit is $2 actually better. So I found these. I was like, what I'm doing in this game? Like, it was wild cheap. Like, I don't anymore, nothing like that. But I remember back in the day, everybody had mama clock me off. And then nobody wanted came. Like, you remember that? People were talking so much mad about it. That's all me off. That's because we use shit, have to eat hot train shit. If you ask me, I'm with To me, every game was better than every NBA live. From the year 2K came out, it was better. And it took probably about 8 to better. Even though we made it higher for like 7 years in a row. Look at most. People say, everybody say, that was made it. So many people had a poor mentality then. But now, some kids like 16, 17, man, they was always the elders. No, they was younger, bad. I remember when people got arcade. Like, I went to 2K. I had 2K, but one. And I bought the fucking football with every match since day one. And then 50 NFL deal was definitely that. No, hell no. Not that game anymore, $30. They made a fool. Yeah, because that year, I don't even mess with sport. But that year, hey, let's go in football. I think the hockey, like $20 each. And I got all 3 of them damn games. Like, and people paying 50 for that. Mad as fuck. Like, man, that's average. Man. The thing ever gets over, they did get kind of lazy though. I get lazy with some of them. This year's 2K, I put that shit plot and I was done. Huh? But yeah, I had everyone on there. I had the J, the 1, 2, I had 3 on GameCube. I had 2K4, yes, 2, I think. Probably all the way to probably I had an Xbox 360. I think after that I started skipping years. Like I said 11, I tell my 13. I think I get 14 too. I had 15. What? I think I had 14. No, you got 13, I get 15. And I get 17. Oh, you got the first game I bought it here. So I don't know how to it, but I was cool. I think that's an issue with them every year. There's not much change. I roster. Only thing happens in 18 that was good as well. It's only kind of good now. Because most of them don't fall off the map. So like LeBron went to the fucking came back. Those two. Other than that, most teams don't drop off here. No, he was in 4. He was in 11, 12, 13, and 14, 15. So like, yeah, he was 2 years. So like, if you was a cash fan and you played them on 10, 11, you had a super shit Cavalier team. And then LeBron, there was a lot of other role guys left too. And then same with Miami with LeBron, I feel like damn, he had some bums. But most years that shit changed that drastic. And when Mike Bird, like, you couldn't get a fucking license. Like, he wasn't in the damn game. I mean, I remember this game, it was a game for Buster Douglas boxing. That was the dude who not Tyson in Tokyo. It looked like this upset, whatever. But the thing is, by the time that game came out, after the Douglas got his ass knocked out, he lost it out. So it was like, damn, I like Buster Douglas. No, it ain't like Super before he was. But the dude, he was fat overweight and his ass knocked off the field. And then the field, I said, like, Bill Watson. I'm just jumping there, like, man, we're all top, make a game based off him. Oh, it's damn, man. I get a lot of things was done on that shit, man. But a lot of times, if it was a first game, it was just based on one day. But that's the usually not all the time. But I think the one was okay. The race was cool. The Mario Dream was good. But man, like when on N64, that fucking man courtside shit, man, ass. All my fucking that was my favorite. Something like, why would you start any party shit that game? Man, that shit. Man, that it's fun to give my non courtside game on GameCube. But that one shit just it wasn't okay. Let's try again. I was like, come on, man. But the first one is 4. He wasn't even super known yet. But I think I'm to get Richard Blaze there, and like everybody's stats, doing what now. It's like, yeah, I think ran to the prominent. So I think they bumped on the hype. Now the hype is coming to getting them playing. But at the time, it's just like, dang, like, you put this dude's name on the cross game. It was just like, I think the first dude just didn't really endorse shit like that. I remember when Michael Jordan was like, oh, 2K11 shit big ass though. That's a game, like people today, that's my boy. But I mean, it was somewhat. He heard the vote, but it was like, it was somewhat to make it for the board. He was right, like the whole thing like that had shit. And you had man, just no other sports game made any athlete like one. Like, they never made a boxing game where it's just it's talking about Ali. Like, remember, like they never went over top of that. I think it's a hell of money. So they think that 99 more. All you do the board game, dude, man, they had man. I'm not calling rated to go. But this motherfucker, where's like I'm not fucking that with schools. Like those are like I made exact shit, especially never so players so they like that to give Jordan. It was like I guess take the door to do and then they just this could do right and turn it into. That's what that thing was. It was just smart doing these companies don't know. I'm like, get the fuck on, man. Dude, what fucking big all 5. It was just different. Like dudes are bad no. It's just like man, like we this shooter. It's just like, cause I remember when the Tom Clancy game, like dudes live. Cause I know that you remember, he's on Tom Clancy, and they based it off who he was right about shit. And it was just like crazy. I think he did first one came from the show. It was crazy, though. Like, oh, yeah, the race started, but I was just man. No, I'm saying I was in the shooter race started.
What the first person to third person?
No, I'm talking about he got to the point where everything came out after he saw it good. Right, cause I know it wasn't PS1 Square. The shooter did she. It was like all not perfect and others. Yeah, they probably like PS2 Xbox. I remember when they had all these no honors and it was like so common and all that. It was me over as hell. When that dude came out, that's definitely when it started. Like, I think the 2K was the game when that was gaming. Like that shit was like, man, you could do it. It was just what the like, oh man, like not even not precious at them, but somebody's oh man, look at me, getting that call. You like that's the first thing I hear. Oh man, I don't get you. Like me, like I don't want to sound like fuck that man. Like, this is weird, man. Like. I won't put into this, but it's like, oh, man, movies. Oh, man, it's in deal with me. I don't do this. It's the deal of shoot, man. Get the fuck out of here, man.
Don't get years ago. In the background, a lot of he's right. That's I'm like, okay, we can't.
The one thing I will say is, I just Call of Duty, but I do think that this should get Call of Duty. Only so they'll have that casual market. The Switch, I don't know if it's core, I don't know if it's casual, but if they run well, and you'll have a good place to start. And you know, I will be on the console. But I think it would serve me like personal. Like, that's like Call of Duty. But I think it'd be a good move if they did. They'll have them soon. Don't the Switch have shooters, but they have those, and they have Prime. Okay, you put some shooters on it. Like, cause you know, like New York, it's like, oh, Call of Duty ain't they pick anywhere. So shit, like, cause it's maybe Battlefield or all the other ones you have. It's kind of like standard. I go there like, ooh, it's standard. I don't know, man. All right, one game from whatever era or brand that you like to see this year. And I'm talking about. How soon ago it came out or everything? Yes, if it was one game that would bring back OD for both of them.
A game that came back, that had in the past, brought back to this era.
Maybe, yeah, like new version of reboot.
Honestly, a stadium-based game for Pokemon. We had they like that. The last Pokemon era seems to be once taking hits, they're gonna switch.
Oh yeah.
Do it. And we're gonna look for it. There are new Pokemon game couple switch to the mouse.
Well, I don't think so. That was only thing. I know a lot of people does, but realistically, I think they might be interested. But I don't see more Drake because usually
That's another thing all about. You want to adjust anything on the
see that they gotta give a clear. They got to they saw 10 million announced, but the thing is, oh my games about 15. They were between 10 and 15 more. I think just sell that like only 10 million out now. And that should be about 16 by March or something like that. But you know, the thing is, if it comes Switch, it's going to take a title. It's not B40, and it's either sell somebody on a GP for $40, but not as easy to sell them on it for. Not saying it's what they hit, but what I'll say is, those don't until that Switch, whenever they still 3 million, they because we might have 3 games that's basically sold have the Switch. Got the Mario, Zelda, and Minecraft. Those all 3 games sold 5 million each, and Mario was about 10. That's like 50% attached. So hold on, anywhere near close to that, they'll name the would be at 20. So then it's going from 14. Mario games 65. So Bear Part and the games on time to be 64. But Pokemon the first time it's really only $60. So you gotta I think you wait a little maybe early 2019. Wait 2019 is too long. But don't see 18. Especially not like because the thing is like will also bring next year, but Metroid Prime 4 was also out. But if you have well Fire Emblem too. I think you have if you have Pokemon and have it come early 2019, not a good start to the year. It's a real good year.
Definitely.
Now I think Xbox, the 3 major tools, the cities, the Crown it's all of them small for you. But every showing they have to show some shit for a year or two. I think with PlayStation it's just more or less like, probably showing the same stuff that got reality. But I don't know about that when only moving in that game and probably know about the last leader, Old Death Shin. So maybe sadly those on release date. And probably some prolific Marcy and maybe another one from Final Fantasy. But I think Saturday too. I don't see any way to do just how much this point. Just looking at it like I'm not gonna change gameplay. But I don't want to the game on go. Like it's really hard. But Jeremy is that we don't I can't beat but it's hard for me to sit for you and RPG. I really is. Like this it's like what you games like from the team point? Like if you have option you have option things different. Now I'll probably back out for B, but Mario I didn't really care. Zelda Sonic I completely didn't want to play TV because it's playing on Xbox TV. But I think this depends on the game though. That's true. Yeah. Main thing too for me is if I'm playing Jeopardy, it's up. I have to worry about saving and turning it off and getting that. Like I got a bus there, if I had Uber, got swear, I have it. But if I'm raised a role, I've never really been in the house. That's the reason I can't RPG or something I had never. Yeah, it's like I can't really play this game. And I know for a fact, no way hell I to anywhere near $1,000 in the Pokemon games. I was on TV. Like that didn't happen. But I have hours. I had Pokemon. Sweet had something to be. I never fully had me. I didn't play much. I think that's a round up your wins this top. And wasn't I enjoy games just like man. I need to worry right now. Last time I playing stuff, I'll play them like playing into a Halo match or they need to find the right match. Play on that match. Or play the like something like that. They can do that. On TV, they got you not engaged. Because I love my switching back. I'll be playing the party, but it still takes away from next some. Because I'm this area talking, other stuff like that. So I'm still like, yeah, I got to switch back to the demo. I don't know, for me, I think it's just, no, I think it depends on the game. So, obviously, I'm in the Street Fighter and handheld moves I'm playing on stick like that. But, think of the game. Like Resident Evil, I'll take on the go. And I'll enjoy probably, it came on the man, so they like what was on there. I wanted to get for it. I just want to pay $60 for new different frames when it was $30 extra station. I did, but also I would have I'm glad it wasn't. You like it, I'm glad it was. I think it was trying to be here playing the action bullshit. It's all horse. I think they had good balance balls. And probably, Yeah, I think probably for Smash, my favorite Resident Evil. I really like some like wow. Besides Brendan Cody, come on, man. I mean, Aquaman just it was really a money grab move. I don't know. I'm trying to come down here with y'all too long.
Good amount of hours since a good chat on it.
Yeah, I'm trying to do this every other weekend thing or maybe 2 days out of the month or something like that. I know we went over an hour and a half, but I think some like time that's available. So, but yeah, I'll probably call it a wrap for now. But if anybody want to plug their YouTube channels in, they can or whatever. I mean, you can plug in your PSN or your YouTubers, whatever, if you want, for the audience or whoever.
I'll probably go get that for this shit.
You might, you just might, but yeah, YouTube. We'll probably try to get off probably two Saturdays or something, 2 Saturdays out the month, maybe every other week, something like that. But then if it jumps off, then we see where we go from here, and probably try to not have as much heaters and puppies in the background. Try to be a little more legit, but I don't know. It's our first time, so I don't know. Had to, I guess, pop the gaming cherries for some people, but I don't know. It's all good though. No, I was saying that just having everybody pop the podcast cherries and shit
my aunt's place.
Yeah, but yeah, we'll probably call it in, I guess. Oh man, I don't know. I guess it stopped. Hold up.